Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to have a return look at the Milestar Patagonia 38 by 1350 R17 tires. As you can see, got it mounted up on the spare carrier on the Jeep. I did order a set of 5, and let's go ahead and take a look at how the tires fit the Jeep. This is my 07 Wrangler Rubicon. I'm running a 3.5 inch Rock Crawler X Factor lift on this. So I've had these tires on for just over a week now, I think it's been. And I came from a BFG KO2. I didn't really have the KO2s on there all that long. The whole last year I didn't drive the Jeep as much as I want. I think I only drove it like 6,000 or 7,000 miles. And you know, the KO2s are great. I did get them on the trails a little bit. They're not very good in like real nasty like clay kind of mud, but they do really good on road. They do grip rocks pretty well. You know, they can handle a little bit of mud, but they're just not what you're looking for if you're in muddy areas, and sometimes that's just what you face when you're on the trails. And being that this isn't my daily vehicle, I figured I wanted to step it up a little bit. I wanted to try out 38s. I wanted to switch to a mud tire. And really, I didn't want to spend a whole lot of money. These tires fit that bill. And in this first week of using them, I've been extremely impressed with these tires. So let's talk about how I got these tires fitting. So as you can see, the Jeep's a little dirty right now. My rear pinch seam on this Jeep is cut. I'm pretty sure that even if you have the newer JK that already has a cut pinch seam, you're gonna need to do a little trimming as well. I do have the axle pushed back 1 inch like the X Factor Rock Crawler kit calls for. I trimmed all this in right here. It gave me quite a bit of clearance there. For the most part, what I've been seeing is I'm good on clearance as far as that goes. In the back here, I was going to cut off more, but I cut it pretty much as far back as I could without disrupting this part of the body structure. So I tried to take this line and kind of smooth it in when I cut that. I think it turned out pretty well. It doesn't, for the most part, it doesn't really look cut. I'm running a 2-inch bump stop in the rear, and the tire stuffed up in there pretty well. I haven't had any rear clearance issues after trimming the rear there and the front part of the rear pinch seam. I am running the same size spare. This is the Rugged Ridge tire carrier. So I am running the 38 by 1350 spare tire on this. This is the Rugged Ridge tire carrier. It has no issues holding this 38-inch tire. It does feel a little bit heavy when you open the door, but it's rated for up to including a 37-inch tire. I really think that based on the weight of some 37-inch tires, I feel that there's no issue putting this tire on here. And with the rear bumper I have, it has no problem down there at the bottom. I do have the brake light at the highest setting, which does peek over the tire nicely, and you can see it well if you're behind the Jeep. This is just the body armor bumpers. I don't remember what model they are. I'll do a better build coverage on this Jeep in a future video, but if you're curious, that's just a cheap body armor brand bumper. I think it's only like a couple $100, and it's been a wonderful bumper. That Rugged Ridge tire carrier, I think is about like, I think I got it for like $450, but I think they're somewhere around $500, $450, whatever. Again, no issues fitting this tire on here. Pretty happy with it. I do like the way this tire carrier brings the tire nice and close to the body. It's about as close as you're going to get to the body as far as mounting your spare tire in that way. Alright, so moving along to the front of the Jeep, this is where I'm still working out some bugs. I really didn't think that going from a 37 inch to a 38 inch was going to cause much issue, but it turns out it is. I mostly have my track bar, I think I need to slightly tweak it, because I did go from 2.5 inch to 3.5 inch springs, and I did adjust it a little bit, but I think I'm ever so slightly off center, so I'm going to tweak that a little bit better. But I do rub at full lock when I turn to the passenger side. I'm not rubbing on the driver's side. I'm really close on the driver's side though, so I think it's almost inevitable that I'm going to rub on one side or another without changing my steering stops. I am running the steering stops at the stock position, but I think that might be changing here pretty soon. These are Fuel Anza wheels. They're 4.5 inch backspace, but I'm running an 1.25 inch Terraflex hub-centric wheel spacers on here. So I'm at about 3.25 backspacing equivalent, and I'm still getting some frame rubbing. And when I had it at full stuff, I'll see if I can post some pictures of it, but when I had it at full stuff, I was smashing into this front fender liner quite a bit, but that was turning and completely stuffed into the bump stops. I'm running a 3-inch bump stop in the front, but I think I'm going to be taking these are Poison Spider liners. I think I'm going to be taking these out, or seeing what I can do to maybe just bend this up in there more. We're going to definitely be doing some tweaking, because I don't really like when my tires rub, to be honest. And if I can avoid it as much as possible and keep it to like a very rare instance, I'll be much happier. But if the wheels are straight, I don't have any issues. These are also the Poison Spider standard width crusher flares. And with the 3-inch bump stop, I can stuff it up in there no problem. And problems don't arise until I cut the wheel one way or another fairly significantly. So really, clearance wise, it's just that front fender liner, I think is all that's going to be the issue up there, and a little bit of frame rubbing. So I think I'm going to try to get the axle center just a little bit better, and then I'll tweak the fender liners as necessary. And I think ultimately I'm going to have to tweak the steering stops just a little bit. I think it's just the nature of what happens when you go 38 by 1350 and bigger tires. I'm running about 28 PSI in these tires, and I think I'm going to go just a tad lower, but we did some light off-roading the other day, nothing too crazy, and it looked like once the tire got dirty and I went down the road, it gave me a good indication of how the tire was contacting the road. I think I'm going to drop the tire pressure down to 26 PSI, to be honest, because it's a 2-door Jeep. It's not really that heavy. You know, I think 28 might be a little bit more suitable for 4 doors, but these are C load rating tires, but they have like a 3,000 pound load rating per tire, so, and that rating of course is at 36 PSI. But yeah, been driving around on them on 28 PSI, and these tires really surprised me, guys. They're absolutely phenomenal on the road. I've had a few different mud tires in the past. I've had a couple sets of Nitto Trail Grapplers, and those were a pretty good tire, but I noticed they chunked pretty easy, and you know, they were good sound-wise compared to other mud terrain tires, but I don't think that they were necessarily anything special. Personally, I think that tire is slightly overrated in my experience. Like I said, I've had 2 sets. I've had them on my truck and I've had them on my Jeep, and they're okay. I wouldn't buy another set, to be honest. You know, the longevity of the tread was good, but anyways, this isn't a trail grappler tire video. One thing that I like about these tires a lot is the center section of the tread really helps with road noise and ride quality and everything. And like I say, this isn't my daily driver, but if you are somebody that's considering this as a daily driver, I'd have no issues putting these tires on my truck as well. I run an all-terrain on my truck because I really don't go play in the mud with my truck. I run a Falcon AT3W on that, and it's been a great tire. But this is a great looking, aggressive looking tire that has good road manners. The one thing I'll notice, and if you've ever had mud tires, you probably notice this as well, but when you're doing like, I don't know, under 5 miles an hour, like right as you approach completely stopping at a stop, or when you initially take off, it feels like you're running over like pebbles or something. And that's just the nature of mud tires. You're always going to get a little bit of like, you can feel like the lugs on the tread a little bit, and you just don't get that with all-terrain tires. I really haven't used a mud tire that doesn't have that like knobby kind of feel. Once you're going down the road though, ride comfort is awesome. My wife even complimented, she was like just surprised how well these tires drive on the road. Neighbors next door grinding stuff like all day long. Sorry about that. But my wife loves these tires, which is saying a lot, because she's going to be a lot more critical to the way this thing handles on the road than I am, because I drive my truck, I drive this Jeep, and she drives her car. So when she says they're good on the road, that's saying something. So this is really where I wanted to be with this Jeep. I really didn't want to quite jump up to 40-inch tires. I just think on a two-door, and I know there's people that feel differently, but honestly on a two-door for me, I just feel like 40s are a little bit too big. I think the 38s are honestly where it's at. Even if I had a four-door, I'd probably get these same tires. And especially, I just checked the other day, Walmart still has these things for $192 a piece. You just can't argue with that. It's right up there with the big name tires as far as mud tires go. And at $192 a piece from Walmart, it's the easiest tire buying decision you'll ever make if you're looking for this size of tire. So I wanted to give you guys that video I promised with the tires on the Jeep, and kind of talk about where I'm at right now. Like I say, I've been running this tire for about a week now, just over. I've been driving out on the road all over the place. We did some real light duty off-roading the other day, and I'm impressed there. I really can't wait to get out on some trails and air them down and see where they go. I'm not running beadlocks, but I still am very curious how they're going to do on normal non-beadlock wheels, and just kind of feel out how well I can air them down. Another thing I should mention is that you don't get a tread life warranty from what I've seen on these tires. Some of the bigger name brands are giving you like 50,000 miles, 55,000 or so on a LT tire, and you don't get a tread life warranty here. But honestly, on the other tires that have them, I've never utilized that. And I've also just haven't had issues to where I needed to use the warranty. So if you're like me and you're curious how these are gonna do in the mud, stay tuned. Definitely come back to the channel, because these are gonna get a good mud testing really soon. I mentioned in my previous videos when I first got these tires, before they were on the Jeep, I'm not a huge mud guy, but boy are we gonna give them a try in the mud. There's a local place that has some real nasty clay pits, and we're gonna go put the Jeep in there and see how she does. But I'm really curious how well these tires clear out, and I really look forward to seeing how well they work as a mud tire. I don't want to go out there by myself, so I'm waiting to make sure that I can get a friend to go out there, at least with their truck, or maybe one of my Jeep buddies or something, just so I have a recovery option. Because even with the 38-inch mud tires and lockers and everything, I'm still bound to get stuck. There's some pretty nasty holes out there. So if you're anxious to see how they do in the mud, definitely come back to the channel. I really haven't seen anybody taking these through much mud of any real significance, so that's definitely going to happen here. And I just got to know, because when I took my Jeep out there with the 37-inch KO2s, that clay just loads them up, and it's too easy to get stuck, really. So this Jeep is still running stock 410 gears for now. I do have the 6-speed manual, so it's been pretty tolerable. More so with the 37-inch KO2s now that I went to these. I pretty much don't use 6th gear on the highway ever, but at least the gearing and the transmission is still there. You know, it has a 446-to-1 first gear, so she does pretty good. And then she still crawls really well because of the Rubicon 4-to-1 transfer case as well. But this year we're definitely going to be moving to 513 gears. I'm looking to do it myself, so I should have some videos on that. There's definitely going to be a lot to come with this Jeep this year, and if you guys are excited to see that, I encourage you to come back to the channel. We're going to be really putting these Patagonias through their paces this year. Alright guys, so that about wraps up this video. Sorry about the grinding noise in the background, can't really do anything about it. Neighbors grinding on some stuff all day. But if you're looking forward to more on these tires, or you know, more on this Jeep, give me a like, subscribe to the channel, or just come back and see what's happening. I encourage it. But there's definitely going to be more on the channel to come. And until next time, I'll see you guys around.